Drinking Starbucks in a Dunkin' world.
Hey, have you flown in this calm weather?
Yeah, I did. I made it. It was very humbling having shitty landings in front of the whole club.
Wow is right. Rip ego. Now that we've got our daily ground loop out of the way, probably karma paid for by people who prefer Dunkin' coffee over Starbucks, let's dive into some fun we had at our new-to-us AMA-sanctioned field, the Southern New Hampshire Flying Eagles. More on the field later, but for now, Focke-Wulf time. I recently picked up the E-flite FW190. I wanted to have a fun to fly and challenge the wheel land warbird of the 6S 5000 class. Wheel landing on grass is one thing, but it takes all your imperfections and leaves you walking away with a false sense of security. I quickly learned this once I regularly started flying off of a hard surface, geotex in this case, at the Flying Eagles, as you just saw. So, I decided to tackle the challenge head-on by trying countless wheel landings on the geotex, working on nailing the sink rate as I flew the mains onto the runway. Any slight imperfection, and there'd be a bounce. Any amount of too little or too much forward pressure after the mains touched resulted in a bounce or overall ugly rollout. While in flight between the landings though, I had some fun trying slow rolls. I also decided to try some one-wheel touch-and-goes. Ultimately, I had a mixed bag of good and bad landings, but had a blast working that stick and rudder on the way. Stay tuned for a review on this warbird soon. The next victim of the day was my favorite 6S 5000 size 3D bird out there, the Flex Innovations Cap 232. I love that this bird really makes you want to push yourself with how rock solid of a plane she is. Every time you think it's going to bite you, it doesn't, unlike most caps out there. This is partially because it's a mid-wing setup as opposed to a low wing. We'll go more into the details on this plane in a review later on. On this day, I was primarily focusing on locking in my rolling Harriers lower to the ground. It's taken me a long time to get this comfortable with this plane, but it's a good feeling seeing it all come together. However, sometimes it's good to get a reality check too. As you saw earlier, I nearly took out my cap while getting a little too cocky exiting a torque roll into a knife edge and quite literally kissed the ground with the wingtip. And unfortunately, that upper register scream you heard actually did come from my own vocal cords. Occasionally, it's fun to try some firmer landings right out of a more aggressive dive with these 3D birds as well, so I opted to set her down like a bag of hammers. The final bird I brought was a unique one, the Hacker Para-RC Cloud 0.5 RC Powered Paraglider, or PPG. Both Ben and I started out in the full-scale world, flying a slightly different variation on these, powered parachutes, or PPCs. Most PPCs have a 100 horsepower engine with a rectangular wing. This is, as opposed to a single-cylinder engine strapped to your back with an elliptical wing and ankles for landing gear, like with a PPG. That being said, I'd always been looking for a nice quality RC-powered paraglider of any kind, and this one immediately caught my eyes. Before flying, I took the time to undo a tangle I had with my steering line wrapped around some of the main riser lines, and thank God that I did. The thing flew as good as new, and no more slight left turns all the time. With PPCs and PPGs, turning is accomplished by pulling down on the trailing edge of the chute on the far left or right side. Climbs, descents, and cruise are all manipulated by thrust settings. It's easy to over-control this aspect, so smooth changes in power are really the name of the game. Once it's time to land, flaring is done by pulling down on both the steering lines at once. Just try to do a cleaner job of catching your PPG than I did that time, unless you're a fan of a fishnet in your face. Let's redeem that one. Much better. We'll do a review of this bird at a later date as well. On to the field. The reason for the new scenery? Both Ben and I have moved to New Hampshire. Well, to clarify, Ben is going to be moved here by early summer. I've actually been here since March. Why though? Well, for me, I moved for my day job. For Ben, he's moving to take on Tail Heavy Productions full-time and try and turn our hobby into a passion project. We both agreed there'd be no better way to do this than by living in each other's backyard rather than transcontinental. New Hampshire is home to some amazing RC clubs. The closest one to us is the Southern New Hampshire Flying Eagles. The second we both laid eyes on this flying field, we knew it was home. Why? It's a uniquely challenging confined flying area that is home to a club with like-minded pilots that also enjoy this change of pace from, wide open farms with no obstacles for miles. We also enjoy, above all, the people. We all know those clubs that always begin with an intro in the form of, "Are you a member?" or "You can't fly that here." This club, however, was the opposite of that experience. Everyone came right up to us, made us feel welcome, and explained that the whole reason this club was established in the first place was to make a place where anyone can come and fly in any way that they want. Sounds like a great place to us. If you want to see more footage like this of our days at the field, let us know. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. Happy landings, and bounce one on for us. See you next time with a new upload.